A very good morning from the sports desk. Karim Benzema is likely to feature for Real Madrid when they take on traditional rivals Barcelona in El Clásico. That's happening this afternoon. Despite Carlo Ancelotti playing down the significance of the match, fireworks are expected at the iconic Santiago Bernabeu. Joining us to look ahead to the matchup is La Liga Southern African Managing Director Marcos Pelegrin. Very good morning to you, Marcos. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, this is a battle between 1 and 2, a Barca team that's looking like it's going back to its old days where they used to be dominant in Spanish football, a Real Madrid team that's, of course, wanting to defend its La Liga title. It's really just there for the taking. This is going to be an exciting one, yeah?
Good morning, Morena. Thank you very much for having me with you today. Yes, definitely. It's going to be very tight, I believe, and very exciting because they arrive with the same amount of points, with the same amount of goals in terms of history, and both of them need to make an statement if they want to get on top of the order in terms of a La Liga standing. So I think it's going to be one of these exciting matches.
El Clásico usually sets up the season for either one of these teams. When the one dominates the other, you can almost expect that they're going to go on to win the league. How important is this particular match going to be, especially considering that a lot of the players in both teams are going to go off to the World Cup? So you would at least think that they would want to win this match badly so as to make sure that they set the tone for the rest of the season.
100%. They are both aware that is the largest and the biggest fixture in world of sports. And as you said, they're going to the World Cup. No one knows what's going to happen. Maybe some players will come back injured or tired of playing in Qatar. So this one is massive because it's something that you need to take now. If not later, it might be too late.
The last time I spoke to you, Marcos, we spoke about Karim Benzema potentially winning the Ballon d'Or, and you actually just said that you don't see anybody else beating him to the Ballon d'Or given the kind of year that he's had. Would you say that should he become a star of this match, should he maybe help Madrid to winning it, that essentially is going to put his name right out there, that nobody is going to take this award away from him? Do you feel like this particular Clásico will give him the Ballon d'Or?
Well, I think it's in his pocket already. That's my personal opinion, because how he performed throughout this year, and also they won the league, champions, etc. And so for me, he's been the best so far. It's going to be very difficult for someone to shadow him. But in this El Clásico, we see Lewandowski scoring every single day, and that guy can't stop scoring. We've seen week in, week out, European competition in La Liga. So always, for me, Benzema is a more, let's say, 360 player. He brings more to the team, but Lewandowski keeps scoring and scoring. So I think it's going to be a toe-to-toe match tonight.
You talk about Lewandowski, which essentially speaks to what Xavi is doing with Barcelona. It looks like all of the players are understanding each other. There seems to be a great deal of chemistry. They're not conceding a lot of goals, which the Barcelona of old used to be powerful in its attack, and it never mattered what they were like in defense. But it seems like a full team now, where they are playing from the back and they are strong in front as well. Are we seeing Xavi building something here that is going to be long-lasting?
I hope so. I think he was part of one of the best teams in history when they were playing together with Iniesta, Messi, Piqué, Busquets, etc. Right now, what Xavi's building looks pretty good. Now they've been struggling for the last 2 weeks because of injuries in defense. Let's see if Jules Koundé comes back today, when Christensen is going to be available, or Araujo. But I think you see how they play from the midfield to the attack, and the bench, the depth of the bench, I think is very important for this Barcelona. The other day they were losing, and then the Young comes and plays amazing. Usually in the last 5-6 years, they didn't have players like the Young in the bench. So I think now that being a larger squad, I think is benefiting them a lot.
They're doing well in La Liga, are the Catalan Giants, but they're not doing too well in the Champions League. In fact, a lot of people now already talking potentially Barca going down to the Europa League. How important is this Clásico going to be to help them remember who they are as a club and remember why they are one of the biggest teams in the Champions League? How important will this be to make sure that they keep themselves in the Champions League?
Well, Barcelona is wounded for what happened in the last 2 weeks in Europe. The first leg in Milan, I think it was unfair result to them because they played better than Inter, and in the second leg they played very well, but then a few mistakes in silly mistakes in defense took them to draw. So now they're wounded and they need to make a statement. On which better stage than Bernabeu? So I think this afternoon they're going to be very hungry and going on to Real Madrid to take it home.
Two probably of the best strikers in the world outside of Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe, that's Robert Lewandowski and Karim Benzema. They're going to be going head to head. So everybody's going to be watching them. The attention will all be on them. They are the ones that you would expect to win this match for either Madrid or Barca. But where do you really think the game is going to be won? Who do you think is going to be the kingmaker, the guy that's going to make Lewandowski and Benzema tick?
Well, I think that there's two wingers, Vinicius and Dembele, that can make a big difference in this game. Benzema and Lewandowski, I have no doubt they're going to perform at the peak, but Vinicius starting from the wing and Dembele more or less playing the same position. They are the ones that can open the game for the clubs because they're so quick, so technical, and those are the ones that, apart from others, they need to feed Benzema and Lewandowski. So I think that apart from them, those should be the ones that we need to have a close look.
So much was spoken about Kylian Mbappe going to Real Madrid in the summer, the European summer. That didn't happen. He signed a contract extension until 2024 with Paris Saint-Germain, which essentially made him the highest paid footballer in the world for this coming season. But just a couple of months later, he says, at least these are the reports, he says he's not happy. The relationship with the top brass has broken down, and he wants to leave, which then again brings Real Madrid back into the spotlight to say, initially it was said that he wants to go there. He's always mentioned his dream of playing in the Los Blancos uniform. Is that now advantage Real Madrid now? Can they see them getting Mbappe in perhaps January, if not maybe the next season?
Personally, I don't think that he's going to move out in January to Real Madrid or whoever it is. I think, yeah, there's been reports, but he's not speaking at all. So he's filtering information to the media. Well, we'll see what happens. Also, they speaking and they're saying that Real Madrid might be banned. So Paris Saint-Germain allowing him to leave at some point, but to wherever it is, but Real Madrid. So I think there's a lot of talking. I think this doesn't help Real Madrid because it distracts the attention from the team and what the team is doing on the field towards Mbappe. And I think players might not be very happy with this because they're doing very well. They won the Champions League without Mbappe, and they're leading the table in La Liga and also qualified in the Champions League. So I think they will be looking towards like shifting the attention towards them because they're doing amazing again and again instead of discussing Mbappe.
So something that's going to be different today in the Clásico, Marcos, is what Barca's going to have on their chest. They're going to have Drake's OVO logo replacing the Spotify logo because Spotify is their sponsor. I mean, they've spoken about, this is Barca, they've spoken about how they're trying to strengthen the relationship between football and music. Just talk to us about that. I mean, do you see that happening? What do you make of them deciding to celebrate Drake getting 50 billion streams on Spotify by putting his logo? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely. If it's Spotify, the main sponsor, and Barcelona, I agree to you. And then the first thing that they have achieved is that they brought the attention of the public and of the media. Everyone is talking about that in the last 3 days. Someone will think that it looks cool because they like Drake. Someone will think that no, because at the end. But I think there's not many difference between having Drake or Spotify. And there's millions and billions of people that like Drake.
Yeah.
And definitely it's very interesting how they want to bring music to football or the opposite, because at the end, this is about lifestyle, what people like, what people is interested about. And if you like music and football, which better way than mixing them together, right?
Before I let you go, Marcos, I can never talk sport, especially with upcoming matches or tournaments, and not ask for predictions. But I'm not going to ask you about the Clásico prediction. That's, we're just going to leave that one there because you are an official of La Liga. But I'm going to ask you about Spain. As a Spaniard, the World Cup is coming up. Spain is not looking like the Spain of old, the Xavi Spain, the Iniesta Spain, but they are still always a formidable team in the world. How far do you see them going in Qatar?
Well, I remember that when we were coming to 2010 World Cup, even though we were European champions, we weren't thinking we're going to win this because we never did it before. Last year in the Euros, 2 years ago, sorry, in the Euros, we were thinking like, no, we don't have a strong team. I think not many people in Spain were very trusting a lot the national team. And then we came up to play very well, and to arrive to the finals and to face Italy, which was great. So I think we do have potential to be in the tournament till at least quarterfinals or semifinals. And then let's see how they perform. But Luis Enrique has shown everyone that whatever he has, he makes them perform. So I think we're quite excited to this.
All right. If you do make it to the semi-finals, we'll have a chat about it. If you don't, we will still have a chat about it because I always want people to answer for their predictions. But Marcos, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure speaking to you. That is, of course, La Liga Southern Africa's managing director, Marcos Pelegrin. Of course, Clásico happening today at the Santiago Bernabeu between the bitter rivals Real Madrid and Barcelona. Ropiwa?